Okay, so this piece is essentially an announcement. It's about ending a really popular series fantasy news, explaining why, and talking about what's next for the creator.
Yeah, a really tricky tightrope walk. But I'll say, starting off by acknowledging the whole Netflixing comparison, that shows some real self-awareness. That's a strength right out of the gate.
Definitely. That honesty is good. But, when you're delivering news like this, ending something people rely on, how you deliver it is crucial.
Absolutely. The sequence, the flow, it all matters. And digging through personal stuff before the main news it can backfire.
Which brings us straight to the first big point, I think. The way the narrative is structured right now, weaving the personal bits with the actual news update, it risks muddying the waters for people just wanting the facts.
Exactly. The material even hints at this problem, right? It tells viewers, hey, skip ahead if you don't care about my thoughts.
Right, which is a red flag.
It is. Starting with the apology, the defense, asking, am I doing this because the show is dying? That speaks to the really hardcore fans, the loyalists.
But what about everyone else? The ones who tune in for that reliable news format?
For them, it's friction. It slows everything down right after the shock of the cancellation, and you might build up a little resentment before they even hear the plan.
So, what's the fix? How do we make it flow better? And maybe reduce that friction?
I think we need to flip the script, literally resequence it. Lead with the outcome, the concrete plan for what happens next.
Get straight to the point.
Then, offer the personal context, the why, as a sort of deeper dive for those who want it.
Okay, that makes sense. So instead of that opening question about the show dying,
you jump right in. Start the main segment with, say, a tweaked version of the transition plan. Lay out the final 12 episodes. Talk about vetting the new host. That's the news people are clicking for.
Right, the core information.
Exact. And then frame the personal stuff wanting to leave on top, the schedule, the mental health aspect. Frame that clearly as a follow-up.
Maybe even give it a section title, like My Reasoning Behind This Shift or something.
Perfect. Put it after the factual details are clear. It shows respect for everyone's time. You give the facts first, then the feeling. Satisfy the need to know, then the wanted.
Okay, so restructuring helps manage the ending of fantasy news. But then there's the pivot, the different new news show. What about the pitch for that?
Ah, yes. That leads nicely into the second point. The way the replacement content is described now, it's too vague. It doesn't really have the sharp positioning needed to get the audience excited about what's coming next.
Yeah, I see that. The creator does a good job explaining why the old format didn't work anymore, the shotgun approach, the intensity, the time crunch. That part's convincing.
It is. But the new thing is only defined by how it's made. More thoroughly edited, insightful, longer format. It focuses on the process, not the result for the viewer.
So it explains why the creator wants to change, but not why the audience should be excited about the change.
Precisely. It needs to clearly articulate why this new format is actually more valuable to the audience than the old one. It can't just sound like it's easier for the creator.
Okay, so how do we sharpen that pitch? Focus less on the making of it.
Exactly. Less focus on the process, like the days or weeks of research, and more on the unique, high-impact results this longer format makes possible. We need to frame this as an upgrade for the viewer, not just a change.
Connect it to something concrete. Maybe that past success they mentioned, the immense thrill from previous work.
That's the perfect anchor. That Audible coverage they mentioned, that was huge.
Right, because they actually contributed evidence, helped bigger players. It felt important.
Exactly. High-stakes, investigative stuff. Frame the new show as the dedicated platform for that kind of work, the place where that Audible-style impact can happen regularly.
So it's not just longer videos, it's deep-dive investigations.
Yes, use stronger language. Contrast it clearly. Instead of just, not a shotgun approach, maybe something like, we're moving from weekly headlines to quarterly, high-impact investigative reports on the publishing industry's biggest shifts and franchise developments.
Ooh, I like that. Quarterly, deep-dive investigative reports. That sounds substantial.
It immediately signals prestige, right? Trading weekly volume for quarterly significance. It makes the audience feel like they're getting something more potent, more valuable.
And it fits the narrative of leaving the old show on top, too. It's not stepping down, it's stepping up into a more focused, maybe more impactful role, like an editor-at-large or lead investigator.
Exactly. It reframes the whole transition as growth, not just cessation.
Okay, structure fixed, new pitch sharpened. Let's switch gears to the final piece, finding the successor for fantasy news. The creator was very honest about this part, maybe a bit too honest?
That's definitely something to look at, and it's our third point. The tone and maybe the completeness of the pitch for finding a new host needs calibration. It should be about aggressively marketing the opportunity.
Right now, the transparency is good, but does it maybe lean too heavily on the negatives?
I think it does, emphasizing that it might just die, or mentioning why Austin and Rich were excluded because of potential resentment, and especially saying, I fully reserve the right to just say, hey, I don't think this is a good vibe fit.
Yeah, that last one feels a bit harsh.
It makes the whole thing sound incredibly risky for any potential candidate. The focus shifts from the huge opportunity inheriting this successful, established series to the very real chance of public failure or rejection.
It sounds less like come partner with me and more like try out, but I might cut you loose very publicly.
Exactly. Which isn't going to attract the best people, is it? So the suggestion here is to really refocus that pitch. Market the value.
What's the unique selling proposition here?
It's the partnership, the coaching, the financial structure, the mentorship from someone established. It's not just take over my show. It's let me produce and coach you to success in this proven format.
So when talking to potential hosts, like the Booktuber community,
lead with that value. Don't start with the disclaimer. Start by saying, I want to act as your producer coach. I'll give you full transparency, a cut of the earnings, my experience, the established brand.
Sell the security blanket, the built-in audience, the mentorship.
Make it clear, this is a fast track. Step into a successful brand with high-level support. For any serious creator, that value proposition should massively outweigh the risk of not being the final choice.
And what about that specific comment they mentioned, the I can't do news because you do news mindset?
Needs to be tackled head-on. Frame this handover as actively clearing the path for someone else. Say, I'm not just stepping aside. I'm handing you the keys, the tools, the branding, the coaching, my platform's promotion. I'm setting you up to succeed.
So it's not, maybe you can save this thing I'm leaving behind.
No, it's, I am engineering the future success of this series by finding the right partner, and I'm putting my weight behind them. It's a much more proactive, confident, and frankly appealing message. It aligns the handover with that goal of leaving while the show is strong.
Okay, that makes a lot of sense. It shifts the whole dynamic.
Right. It's about making the opportunity irresistible.
So to wrap things up, this material has strong bones. The honesty, the clear goal to pivot while the series is still successful, that's all great.
Absolutely. The core intent is solid.
But to really nail this tricky transition, we've got 3 main suggestions. First, resequence the whole thing.
Yep. News first, personal context second. Respect the audience, manage the flow.
Second, sharpen the pitch for the new content. Define it by its outcome, high-impact investigative work, like the Audible example, not just by its length or editing process.
Give people a reason to be genuinely excited for what's next. Frame it as an upgrade.
And third, recalibrate the host search pitch. Focus aggressively on the value proposition.
Sell the partnership, the coaching, the built-in success. Make it an opportunity top talent can't ignore, rather than focusing on the risks of rejection.
Yep. Frame it as actively empowering the successor.
These adjustments are all aimed at making sure the execution matches the ambition, stepping away on a high note, and setting up whatever comes next for maximum impact.
We're really keen to see how these changes shape the next version. Take these points, especially thinking about adding that concrete value to the new show's description, revise it, and definitely send it back our way.
Yeah, looking forward to seeing round 2.